What's up, everybody? This is Nate with Kingdom Communauté. We have a guest here. I'm just going to close this pop up, which I don't like. We have a guest here. His name is Dylan, and I'm pronouncing that right. I'm assuming, right, Dylan?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. um, he has his own YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the description. This is a talk show, so you want to, if you want to be a member of the live audience, you just subscribe to our Discord channel. It's $5 a month. That gives you access to the become a talk show member, but then that also gives you access to be kind of like a investor in our business projects to change the world, basically. Not the world first, the city. We start by the city, and then we'll grow. There's more information on the channel. There's also more information in the links on the YouTube channel. So we're going to just dive into our conversation with Dylan. I saw some of his videos on his YouTube channel, and I resonated with him because he grew up in a religious household, similar to mine. Not the same religion, but kind of the same values and the same, and I'll let him share a little bit about himself, but we have a lot that I would like to cover concerning like the Kingdom channel. So go ahead, Dylan. What's up?
What's up? So I am from the upstate of South Carolina in the U.S. Um, it's in the Appalachian Mountain region, and I grew up in an area that is very much its whole society is based off of. It's called the Bible Belt. I grew up in a family where religion was the number one thing. My grandfather, he was a preacher. I come from a long line of preachers, and so my
Oh
parents were a
man.
little, I guess,
Okay.
disappointed. Yeah, I guess that my parents were probably a little
Oh,
disappointed when they found out that I did not want to be a preacher.
oh that's
But
wait. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
you're fine.
Yeah. So you said you grew up in the Bible Belt, and your parents were frustrated because you didn't want to become a pastor or a preacher. Is that what you said?
Yeah, pretty much. I guess it was kind of expected. I guess for I have a little brother. I guess it was kind of expected for one of us, I guess, to kind of carry on the legacy of like my grandfather and stuff. And but when I was growing up, I was so immersed in going to church that, I thought that's just what my life was going to have to revolve around. It was either I thought either I'm going to become a preacher, or I'm going to do something involved with the church when I get older. Because growing up in that area, I never knew any area different than where I was from. I had never traveled anywhere, never been anywhere, and so I thought that's the way the world was. And anybody who was not my religion or in my area, I thought was, I guess, weird in a way.
Yeah.
Like I thought we were the normal ones and everyone else is weird, but sometimes it was the other way around.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, sometimes it
I
was the
feel you.
other way around.
Yeah, because you get you get brought up in this kind of this headspace, and it's really difficult to kind of escape that, which was surprising. Not surprising, I suppose, but very encouraging, I suppose, for me when I saw that you did that, because there's not a lot of people who are able to, you know, come out of that type of thinking to be able to discover who they are. You know, I still know
No,
some
not at
people who are
all.
stuck in it. So
Oh yeah, it's
okay,
so
well,
sad. Like my family,
hmm?
I love them to death. But they're very stuck in their ways, and all I do is pray for them. I don't really even try to
Yeah.
talk them out of it.
Yeah, same. For me, it's just my mom, because it was me and my brother, and my brother left the church very early. He was just like, ugh. But I stayed in it for quite some time. Um, and both my brother and I were like trying to explain to our mom how just it doesn't make any sense, the things that she but she's so stubborn. She won't listen. And so we did this. We started doing this. I started doing the same. My brother stopped worrying about it, but I started just praying. I've been praying for like more than like 15 years for my mom. It's crazy. So
That's all you can do.
That's it. Like, one day it will happen. I did have a dream that one day it will happen. One day she will come out of it. I had a dream, um, probably 20 years ago, and I told her about it because it freaked me out. That was the only dream I had ever had. No, it was the second dream I had ever had about her, and she, I didn't want to tell her, but she told me to tell her, and I was just like, she was like, tell me. So I told her because for her, I knew it was going to be bad. I knew she was not going to take it well because in the dream, she was not who she thought she was, you know? And when I told her, she freaked out for, oh my goodness, off and on for like years, right? Now she's less like concerned about it and just more like, well, whatever happens, happens. But I told her, I feel like we're really close to the end because everything that happened in the dream has already happened, except for this part. And her part was at the end. So I was just like, I feel like it's close. But and she told me she had a dream, and she, when she told me her dream, what it meant, I was like, oh, that's really similar to what I had. But she doesn't see the similarities. I do. She thinks it means she's gonna die. I think it means her concept of how she thinks things are supposed to be, thanks to religion, is going to get blown up in her face, and then she's going to have to come to reality, terms with like reality. Sorry, I didn't mean to just like jump all over that, but
No,
like
you're
it
fine. I'm
was.
listening. I'm all ears.
So I do have hope, but it has been like more than, I don't know, 20 years, I suppose, that I've been, praying. No, it's probably like 15, I suppose, but 20 years that I've had to deal with it. So
No, I get it. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I would try to talk to my parents about stuff, and I would end up making myself very angry
yeah,
because they would not listen to
yeah,
me.
yeah. No, yes,
And I
but you're
just
right. You
couldn't
just gotta,
understand what they were not understanding. Like to me, it was simple, but I just had to think back to when I was like that. I was the same way, so
yeah,
I can't. I try not to blame them too much.
yeah. And that's also what's very key when you're able to recognize that you were the same way. Like you were, and then you can judge if you want to, but if you're being honest with yourself, I mean, you can, I think just naturally the judgment comes up, right? But
Oh yeah,
then
that's
you're
being
able to be
human.
like, but I was the same way. Like,
I was.
the only thing that brought me out of it was that I had to face it, and so I was just like, but my mom doesn't. So listen, um, I wanted to talk about, so the kingdom communauté. That's how it's pronounced. It's the French version, pronunciation of community. Um, is based on the kingdom of God, right? I mean, that's the kingdom of God is supposed to be on earth. That's what Jesus said. Well, it starts in your heart. That's what Jesus said. It starts in your heart, right? Which is something I wholeheartedly believe. And I don't know. It's for me. It's not really based on religion because religion is man-made, and I think that the things that Jesus taught us and the things that we learn of God are really just not religious, but they're on the heart. They're in the heart. They're our relationship with God. However, however, you had said that you thought you believe that kind of all roads led to God, right? I don't know if you remember saying that, but you said
Hmm.
that, and I appreciated that point, right? So I wanted to talk to you about your switching from Baptist, Pentecostal to Catholicism, because that's what you did,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, what led you there?
So I've always really, I don't know, I guess growing up in what I did, I've always really appreciated like religions that were had like sacred rituals and all kinds of just, they put a lot of symbolism, a lot of thought into everything. And, growing up Baptist, we didn't really do that. I mean, you came in, you sat down for an hour, and then you left, and that was it. But when I finally had went to a Catholic church, yes, overall from my experience, Catholic people in the Catholic Church were a lot more nicer, a lot more friendly. Although not everybody may have that experience, I know.
Right.
But I went, and I don't know, I had a whole new appreciation for like Christianity in general because of like I guess the sacredness of it, and there was so much thought that was put into everything, in the
Yes.
service, into the building of the church, and it was amazing. And the fact that you know growing up we only prayed to God and to Jesus, but the fact that they have the role of Mary, the saints, and
Mm-hmm.
all that, you can pray to each and every one of those for something. I love that, and it made sense to me, and being able to pray to like our ancestors and our dead relatives and talk to them, they're
Mm-hmm.
around us.
Okay.
Yeah, completely appreciated that, and just really kind of fell into what I realized I did believe deep down.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. As it's just so I thought that I would stay in my religion when I came out the closet. I thought I would stay in and kind of help them open their eyes. But I was actually brought out. This happened in my dream before it happened in reality. Um, but I really thought that that's what would happen because I'm like, I'm a problem solver, right? So like, when I see a problem, I'm like, let me try to fix it. Let me try to help y'all fix this. But I just naturally came out, just came out of the church. And it was probably it was a good reason because I was very angry kind of with the church. Did you ever experience that type of like anger? Like when I say angry, I'm not talking about angry. I was furious. There's one time in my life where I've been just so furious. I've never experienced that fury before, but that had nothing to do with religion. But religion was probably like second rank to it. I've never been so angry at another kind of entity or being before as much as I was with the church. Did you ever like experience that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was 14, and that's kind of when I realized my sexuality was very much there and what it was about.
Yeah.
And just, praying over time, it was not going away. And, growing up, I had always been told that that is wrong to be like that.
Yeah.
And if you are, it's just because you're not close enough to God, or either you're not praying hard enough.
Right.
And it's just as time went on, I was getting so mad because it just wasn't happening. I was very angry with God. I was very angry with anything to do with Christianity. I really thought it was a load of just bull, is exactly what I thought it was, because I was
Yeah.
like, it's not real. It doesn't work. And if I do believe that, I'm just going to go to hell anyway. So I just turned away from it, and I like couldn't stand anything to do with church for years.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I feel you.
No, I couldn't,
Man.
I wouldn't even go into a church.
Huh?
I would not even step foot into a church. Like if
Oh
somebody
yeah.
invited me somewhere to go to church, I would not go.
Oh, and that's so interesting too. Yeah, because you didn't, but then you felt compelled, I guess, compelled or kind of led to come back, and
Oh yeah.
that's good because I mean, there, I was thinking the other day, or was it today? I think it was today. I was like, you know what? You know that expression, God's gift to man. Like I
Hmm.
was thinking, I had been no, I've been thinking this for since I was a kid, but I was just even before I even came out the closet, I was thinking, man, gay people are God's gift, especially to religions, because I kind of feel like otherwise their eyes would be, they would, they've closed their eyes and they've not, and they will refuse to open it. But when you have gay people in, or people in the LGBTQ plus community in the church, they are forced to kind of reconcile with it in one way or another. Um, I'm always hoping, obviously, that they reconcile with it. They recognize God in them. you know,
Yeah.
rather than thinking that they are, Satan's children, sort of thing. Um, but I do think that if it wasn't like we play like a huge role in, and that's one of the reasons why I thought I would stay in the church, but I just ended up not doing it. But yeah, I totally resonate with that anger.
Oh yeah, it's
But like
real.
the church that you're in now, are you like you you're active, but like do you like, I don't know how the Catholic Church really works, but do you like hold any like positions? Are you like teaching and stuff like that? Is that a thing?
No, I attend mass usually every Saturday night, but if I can't make it Saturday night, I usually go Sunday mornings, but it's just so packed. And I'm not a morning person like that.
Yeah.
Like I guess another thing I loved about being Catholic is I could go to church on a Saturday night instead of having to go on a Sunday morning because
Oh,
as a
I guess
kid
that's
I
true.
hated it so bad. Oh, I hated having to get up and go in the mornings. But no, I'm just a little member there, I guess.
Yeah.
And I know
Okay.
everybody. I talk to everybody. Just
Okay.
I've been going there for so long. Actually, I've been going to mass for like years now. But April 19th, I think it is, the day before Easter Sunday, that's when I'm getting baptized
Oh,
in the church.
okay.
Yeah, and I'll be
Wow.
officially confirmed.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Well, congratulations. So this
Thank
what I
you. I should have
assume.
done it a long time ago, but I was just too nervous to.
Listen, listen. Everything in its own time. That's how.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So I want to get into some of my kind of my favorite topics, which is like faith. What can I ask you what faith means to you?
I guess well, to me, it's like having. I want to say having faith in something you can't see, but I guess having a belief in something that you can't see and having full trust in that.
Yeah. And have you ever kind of experienced that? I don't know how to ask that. Do you have you? Well, I would want to ask. Do you have you experienced it, or can you explain what it? Yeah, have you experienced that the way you described it, and kind of what it looked like for you?
You mean like when
I'm
I
sorry, I'm looking
first
at my
began to
notes at the
have
same
faith?
time. So,
Repeat that question again. I want to make sure I answer right.
yeah, what did so you said faith is kind of belief in something that you can't see, right?
Yeah.
Um, apart from God, I suppose, do you know? Do you have an example of what that has looked like? What that looks like in your own personal life?
Um. God, that is a tough question.
Yeah, it is.
That is a deep one too. I guess. I, I mean, I guess the people that I'm close to, I guess I have faith and trust in that they love me and want the best for me and will do the best thing for me.
Right.
I put my trust in that. So I guess that would be a way that I kind of have faith in other people. And I guess that kind of relates back to how my faith in spirituality and religion and God works.
Okay. Okay. And okay. And do the Bible says the just shall live by faith, right? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, you're fine.
It is literally my favorite subject. Actually, because it's my favorite subject, that is how I got to the place I'm at now. Is because I wanted to know. I'm like, what is this faith thing? I've discovered quite a lot along the way, and so I am very interested in seeing what other people's kind of thoughts are or experiences are because they vary. So, um, d- um, because okay, so what I was saying was like scriptures say that the just shall live by faith. Is that something that you think is kind of like a day-to-day thing,
Oh yeah.
in I guess kind of out of respect, because I think faith is required in order to know, God. That's
Oh yeah.
because we can't see God and we can't feel God. So, and I agree with your definition. So, apart from that, is there any other kind of day-to-day example besides also, your family, that you feel like this is something that you have to live by constantly? Do you understand the question?
Yeah, you mean just how do I use this in every day-to-day
Yeah,
life?
do
Like
you?
live
Well,
by
the question
faith?
is like, do you, and like how?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, of course I do. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to spirituality, they fail is they take an interest in it and then they want to live by that for it's like they take a short interest and then they fade out of it, but to become really spiritual and to really live by faith is something you have to really dig down deep into yourself, and it has to be put kind of at the forefront of your life. Because when I wake up every morning, I pray every single morning when I wake up, and I pray every single night before I go to sleep. It's the first thing on my mind and the
Hmm.
last thing. And I try to, when something's going on throughout the day and I'm not having a good day, I just try to remember that everything is going to be okay as long as I put my trust in God. And I used to not be like that. And,
Hmm.
I would be upset, something bad would happen, and I would just be miserable. But now that I've really put my faith in the front of my life, my life has just went so much smoother here in the last few years or so.
That makes me happy.
Oh yeah.
It makes me happy because when I started learning who God is, like having my own personal relationship with God, I actually had to tell God. I've done a couple videos on that as well, but I had to tell God that,
Hold on one. I'm sorry.
yeah,
One.
I think I forgot what it. I also have ADHD, so I remember and
Oh
forget
God, I do
things.
too.
You do too? Oh God, yeah.
Yes. I took medication for I think about 8 years. I just got off of it probably like a couple years ago,
Oh yeah,
but
bruh.
I can tell a big difference.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. I've never taken medication for it. I've been raw dogging it for this this entire time. It
It
is
is
painful at
rough.
times. Say it again.
Do you hear an echo like when I'm talking?
I don't hear an echo now.
I,
You do hear an echo?
I thought like this room's kind of got a little bit of echo to it, and I was just making sure you could hear me clearly.
Oh no, for me it's clear, so it's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right.
No. That's funny that they say people with ADHD, they're drawn to each other.
I think that's very true.
um, I remember in one of your videos, you had mentioned that you thought, I could be paraphrasing you wrong, so correct me if I am wrong. You said that you thought there are some things that humans shouldn't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah? And so you still believe that.
Oh
Is there
yeah,
a
I do. I
reason
think
why?
there's things. Well, I feel like there's things that we shouldn't know, but at the same time, we wouldn't be able to understand even
Right.
if, like, we would not even, our brains would not even begin to comprehend certain things. And, I feel like humans are put on Earth for a reason. And, if we knew everything, the mission here might not be what it's supposed to be, like, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
And so we're
Yeah.
not
Okay.
supposed to know everything.
Yeah. Because I heard you say that in one of your videos, and I was like, I kind of disagree with that, but kind of, because I do agree that our minds, from the things that I have asked God, so I ask God anything. I ask God anything that crosses my mind. Like, I'm just
That's
like, why is
good.
this?
Oh, yeah, that's
But
good.
I have learned also that some things aren't a very simple answer. You know, also a very good example is when when so I heard God's voice twice, right? The first time it said, or Jesus, well, God's voice, but the first time it said, "I love you just the way that you are," right? Um, and that's kind of one of the things that, and then God pushed me out of the closet. That's literally what happened. I'm not lying. So he kicked me out of the closet, but then I had the opportunity to go back in, I almost let my mom scare me back into the closet. Not, she didn't do it on purpose, but sometimes people say things and then you're just like, make you think, and you're like, oh my God, or whatever. But I didn't, thank God. But I asked God when I came out of the closet. I was like, but all of these texts, in Leviticus and well, in Exodus with Sodom and Gomorrah, or sorry, in Genesis with Sodom and Gomorrah, and
Yeah.
Leviticus, and in Romans, and stuff like that. I was like, well, what does all this mean, right? And I asked God that in 1 year. Well, I kept asking God, and I didn't. The knowledge that I was getting to explain those things came to me over the course of like 8, 9, even 10 years, right? So it didn't come just at once, and then I realized that it wasn't just a very simple answer. To know the answer, for me at least, to know the answer, I had to know I had to know more about God, right? So it started off God saying, "I love you just the way that you are," and then I'm like, "Well, how can you?" Well, because God said, it was a voice, and I was in my room alone, and it spoke to me like, like we're speaking, like, but someone was in the room, and um, I got on my knees and I said, I know you love me just the way that you are, God, but there are some things you want me to change, which obviously I'm addressing my sexuality, and so was God. But there was no response to it. Like, God didn't come back at me and be like, what are you talking about? Stop being stupid. But, so I, heads up, like anecdote, when God tells you something, don't try to put your own spin to it. Just like ask God, what do you mean by this, rather than being like, oh, I know what you mean. Let me tell you what you mean, and tell him something completely different. Don't do it. It'll ruin your life. Anywho, um, so he's telling me, I love you just the way that you are. I'm like, okay, you love me just the way that I am. But not, not really. And there are some things that you want me to change because that's the way I learned it in church. You cannot put man's word over God's word. So it's just it was a big thing. And so then it took me, like I said, probably about 10 years to even begin to understand who God was in reference to be able to reference these scriptures that seem, what they call them, the clobber text. So to be able to reference those and understand. Now I have a very clear understanding, but like I said, it didn't come like that. So back to the whole main question, which was, do you think that there's some things that we shouldn't know? I think there's nothing that we shouldn't know, but I do think, as you said, our brains are not, in order to know these things, we need to know something else, right? Or we need to experience something else. And so that might take a minute. That may take, a few years. But so that's how I feel. Like, I agree with you, but then also I'm just like, but I do think that we can ask God anything. And there is that text, right? It's like, what do you say? Ask me and I will show you things that you have never seen or never known, or something to that effect.
I was going to say, asking you shall receive, but
Well,
that's,
there's that too, but like,
yeah.
yeah, I feel like there's anything is up for bids when it comes to God. God's like, okay, ask me, I'm ready for it. That's
I
just
do
my
think that
opinion, though.
when we die, I do think we will know everything. Then we'll find all the answers out to
Wait,
everything that we wondered while we were on Earth.
wait, say that again.
I said I do feel like though when we die and when we pass on, we will know the answers to the things we wondered while we were on Earth.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, and that's quite, in my opinion, that's probably really true as well, because there might be things we will, even though we've asked, we won't know on this earth just because there's not enough time.
You know, no, we're not here long enough.
Yeah, precisely. So, whatever. It's all good. I had another question about what you thought the keys to entering heaven are.
Boy, that's a tough one too.
I'm sorry. I just,
The
you
keys,
know,
first off, is faith. I think faith is the biggest key to entering heaven. But
yeah,
I always feel like I feel like self-love is probably the way to really get into heaven. I know that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can do any amount of rituals or, to get yourself into heaven. But I think
Yeah.
entering heaven starts with self-love because God loves you and you have to learn to love yourself.
You're right. Okay.
And I
Interesting.
think that's the best thing, right? That's the best path to get you into heaven.
Nice. Yeah. I think to be able to love yourself, you do have to learn how to be honest with yourself, and that is something
Oh
that
yeah.
gay people have to deal with. Um, I think they probably have to deal with it more than most other people because they can kind of hide behind whatever. But the gay people, we have to acknowledge one way or another who we are.
Yeah.
And then yeah, to learn how to be honest with yourself, and then hopefully learn how to accept, love yourself. So yeah, I could totally feel that.